Arizona Cardinals 24, San Francisco 49ers 23. I think that's next on the list. Certainly is. I thought this was, I mean, the next two games were surprises. They were big upsets. But the Cardinals moving to 2-3, the Niners falling to 2-3, double-digit favorite 49ers here, had a double-digit lead once again in this game. Granted, that came from a blocked field goal for a touchdown, but it was 23-10 49ers, and the Cardinals scored the last 14 points in this game to pull the upset.
A game in 96-degree heat, not in Arizona.
So I believe, Bay Area people just waking up here, I believe October is the hottest month in San Francisco.
Really?
It's a weird climate where the summer, if you ever spent a summer
like 60-something.
It's 60s in the summer.
Yeah.
I forget who said, somebody said like the hottest, something about like October being the summer in San Francisco. There's some quote, maybe it was Mark Twain or something like that about San Francisco summers being hot. Churchill said it. Churchill said the hottest summer is in October in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Believe that's a Churchill quote. We could get that on the Churchill meme. Summers in San Francisco occur in October.
The Churchill meme is only a thing between me and you. Nobody else knows that's a thing.
It's okay. We have a lot of inside jokes here. I love our Monday meme that nobody knows about, that you and I share every single week.
So anyway, 96 degrees in Santa Clara. It's not even in San Francisco. It's like miles away. Anyway,
yeah.
Hot game.
The Bay Area summer is October.
Right. The 49ers apparently wanted to wear their white jerseys and weren't allowed.
Know the rules, Kyle. You can't change the jersey on Thursday before the game. This thing's declared months in advance.
Yeah.
They were wearing their throwbacks. They're the only throwbacks that didn't work this week, right?
I kind of wonder.
94 throwbacks?
Seriously, if that was a factor. Like, Arizona's in white. The 49ers are red, baking themselves to death.
I need sports science or something, because the teams have been doing this forever.
It makes a
We're
difference.
We're going to white at home
right.
versus the color jersey. You think it makes that big of a difference?
It makes so scientifically, it makes a fairly significant difference to like heat retention. And in 96 degrees, I have to think that makes a difference to how you're feeling in the day.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah. Anyway, Arizona, it was a strange game because you're like, it was a big line and we both picked San Francisco to clear it anyway, right? And Arizona won the game, and honestly, the only reason it was even close was because of a couple of big mistakes from Arizona, including a blocked kick that was returned for a touchdown, and then Kyler Murray trying to throw like a simple flare pass that Nick Bosa intercepts and returns for a pretty significant return. Outside of those two plays, like the Cardinals were just the better team consistently.
I mean, this goes both ways, though, right? The Niners are up. What was the score when Jordan Mason fumbled? The Niners are up 23-13 or 23-21 in the red zone, and Jordan Mason fumbles in the red zone, where the Niners, again, a touchdown probably seals the deal on that game. Jordan Mason fumbles. You have, first off, one of the reasons why the Cardinals won. Kyler Murray throws a touchdown pass, 2-yard touchdown. There's a roughing the passer on that play. That made it was 23-19 at the time. Arizona smartly goes for 2 and gets it with James Conner to make it 23-21. So instead of a 3-point deficit, this made it a 2-point deficit. And of course, Arizona ends up winning with a game-winning instead of a game-tying field goal. So that was a huge play in the game. Even just leading up to the game-winning field goal drive when they're down, it's 4th and 5. Niners defense is cooking, right? I mean, it's 4th and 5. Kyler heaves it up to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Ridiculous.
for the completion and for the conversion, which was a big part of the game-winning drive. It kept the game alive. So I thought for both teams there was a lot of high leverage, huge plays. From a Niners perspective, you're going to say, "Come on, Jordan Mason can't be fumbling in the end zone." But yeah, the Niners also had that block punt for a touchdown that. That's part of the reason why it felt like it was going to carry on as a blowout, because they had that big lead and they were handed that extra touchdown.
Yeah, Kyler Murray was back to being pretty impressive in this game, like made a couple of spectacular plays. James Conner was running the ball so well. Like, he is such a good running back. And then
takes care of his body for an old man.
For an old guy. Tom Brady describing James Conner like he's, the final throws of Adrian Peterson in the last days of his career, still looking chiseled and like an Atlas stone.
This was like the first close game that Tom Brady's ever called, right? I thought he showed some enthusiasm and everything. I wasn't, again, I don't listen to, I switch the commentary on all the game all the time, but from when I was listening, it seems like he's getting a little bit better.
Him describing the kind of late game management type of stuff was, I think, the most interesting stuff that he said.
I think that's where Romo's really good. When you get into the quarterback's head and you're like, here's everything that we're thinking.
Right.
Not like, hey, just try hard, make a good play.
It's because that's when they become quarterbacks again, right? You eliminate all the time they have to think about whatever crap they want to talk about, and it's just like, here's what's happening right now. It's a time-sensitive drive where the quarterback is basically running the show, right? That's when Romo is at his best. It's when Peyton Manning is at his best. It's when Brady's at his best. Like, simply getting that in the situation is where you get the best version of Tom Brady. That's where he is at his best, obviously. Like, that's what he was at his best at playing. It's just that, it's probably not worth $37 million a year.
Oh, man, Arizona. I mean, again, Brady did mention this too on the broadcast. Like, they weren't getting pressure.
Again, yeah.
In this game. The more I doubt Arizona, every time, just like last year, I start to doubt them. I'm like, they're just a bad team.
They did dial it up,
bad
though,
defensively. Yeah, they did.
Situations.
They did, and the game-ending interception was outstanding. They got the unblocked rusher. Purdy probably just didn't feel it, didn't see it, held it a tick long. Ball gets popped up. Kaiser White with the diving interception. Like, credit that. That is as much as I focus on the pass rush a lot week to week because I think having dudes who can win one-on-ones is huge, which is why I like using the PFF pass rush grade. I think it's a great way of defining how well players win one-on-one and create havoc. But in today's NFL, I think we're seeing more and more defensive schemes dialing up free rushers, dialing them up at the right time, and the way offenses are handling those are a huge reason for success or failure. And Arizona dialed it up at the right time and created that turnover. All I wanted to say, though, was Gannon, as the head coach of Arizona, continues to impress me. Getting the team to play a little bit above their expectations, and I'm curious what that looks like if they get better players in there, if they get better players who can win one-on-ones up front, if they become, a much better team over the next couple of years.
We talked about this a little bit before with Jaden Daniels, but I feel like Kyler Murray's rushing threat is so underutilized by this team. He is devastating when he takes off. Like, he might not, again, the standard is always Lamar Jackson. He's not Lamar Jackson, but he's a cheat code. Like, the defense doesn't have anybody that matches up with Kyler Murray when he takes off. That scramble where he took off, or was it scramble or design run? The big long run for a touchdown that he had. He hit the highest mile per hour figure per NGS of any quarterback in the last 8 years. That dude has got wheels. Like, Kyler Murray, when he takes off, you do not have people that can stay with him.
I thought Arizona's offense a couple years ago with Cliff took the next step when Kyler ran a little bit more. I agree. I got a crazy stat here from Kev Cole. Rest in peace as well. Percentage of plays run at 90% or better win probability in games that end in losses.
Okay.
49ers have 26%, 25.9%. The Ravens have 6%. So in other words, the Niners have had several plays, many plays where they've run. They've had the game in hand, so to speak, 90% win probability, and still ended up losing. All of this come from yesterday's game and from the Rams game. It has to be, right? Those two games.
Right.
These are tough to swallow, I think, for the Niners fans here.
Yeah,
to be 2-3 when you had these games, should have had them won.
Right. I think Chris Sims on last night's broadcast was saying, they're the best 2-3 team in the NFL, maybe ever. They should have been winning these games comfortably, but they found ways of losing both of them.
I was in the middle of workshopping a similar take about running quarterbacks. Brock Purdy scrambling around. He's got 8 first downs. What's so funny over here?
We've got our official Winston Churchill quote, which again is an in-joke that only you and I get.
We got to know. All of our fans know the Churchill quote because Tyler Lockett made a statement last year, and I said that's a Churchill quote. That's a podcast joke. Mm-hmm. We could put it up there. This was
Yeah, but it requires like the 7 people that remember that to get it, whereas you and I have turned it into a meme in WhatsApp. It's slightly different. Here we go.
It be hot AF in the Bay Area in October.
Winston knew. Winnie knew.
Churchill, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brock Purdy is in this. He kind of scrambled around and took a sack right after I was workshopping this in my brain, but he's got that great spatial awareness and feel for when to scramble. He had another 33 yards on four runs. Most scramble first downs this year. It's Jaden Daniels and then Brock Purdy and Josh Allen tied with 8. I mean, Purdy to me is doing so many things well and even better than last year, and it's not resulting in results here for the Niners, which I think goes back to that. They're blowing a lot of games, man.
Yeah. I don't think he had a great game this week.
This isn't the best example of that, But yeah, Arizona holding him to 19 of 35, such a high efficient passer, getting the game-ending interception. I mean, really impressive job by Arizona's defense.
Definitely. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.